gentlemen, bungle. Hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having a great day. Today we are covering the sales that are currently happening in Enlisted for the 2-year anniversary. Now keep in mind, this is going to be Bungle's top picks, top recommendations for all the campaigns that are currently in Enlisted. Now keep in mind that I reviewed all the Enlisted premium content, so check the description down below to check out the Enlisted Premium Squad Review playlist, which has all the premium squads and premium content that's currently in Enlisted. Now without further ado, let's begin. Starting off with the Battle of Moscow with the Allies. This is going to be my recommendations and my top picks. Right away, the M3 Medium. This is going to cost you right now 3,500 Enlisted Gold, or roughly $30. The main highlights of this tank is that you have a 37mm gun that is a turret that can traverse 360 degrees across the battlefield, and a 75mm limited traverse gun. The M3 Lee is great at shredding infantry and taking out a lot of enemy tanks that are currently on the German side in the Battle of Moscow campaign. This includes Panther 4s, this includes Panther 3s, and of course Panther 2s are a joke. The armor in M3 Lee is pretty decent. If you're playing against a German player that may know what they're doing, they can penetrate you frontally if they're using a Panther 4. But Panther 3s and below, you're really not going to have a problem facing those tanks. Another highlight that I'm going to talk about is the Battle of Moscow Firepower Bundle. This comes with the Lewis gun, which is going to cost you roughly around $45. The main highlight with this squad, this bundle, is that you also get the German counterpart, which we'll talk about later. For one, you get the Lewis gun squad for the Russian side. This comes with 4 machine gunners and 1 level 2 engineer. The main highlight with the level 2 engineer is that you can build spawn points, you can build anti-aircraft guns, anti-tank guns, etc., adding more versatility to the squad. And the Lewis guns kind of comes with a 47 round magazine, has a decent fire rate, it's pretty good. Now moving down to the access side. Right away I'm going to recommend the Panther 4E. This is going to cost you roughly 3,050 Enlisted Gold, or $30. This pretty much is a Panther 4 with a short 75mm cannon. You do have armor-piercing rounds, but the main highlight in the squad, unlike any other Panther 4 that's currently in the Battle of Moscow campaign, you get heat shells, high explosive anti-tank. These rounds are really good at taking out T-34s, T-50, heavily armored Soviet vehicles that you're going to be facing in the Battle of Moscow campaign playing for the Axis. In addition, the heat shells work really great at tearing up enemy infantry. The Panther 4 is a decently armored tank. It's pretty good, and this is going to help expedite your grind. Now, of course, I already recommended the Battle of Moscow Firepower Bundle for the Soviets because of the Lewis gun, but in addition to that bundle for $35, you do get the MG-13 drum magazine. The MG-13 drum magazine is basically a 75-round magazine. It comes with 4 machine gunners and 1 level 2 engineer. That level 2 engineer is really good at adding versatility to the squad because you can go and build spawn points, anti-aircraft guns, anti-tank guns, etc. So I would highly recommend, out of all of these that we've mentioned so far, definitely the Battle of Moscow Firepower Bundle is a great deal. Now for the Battle of Berlin campaign, starting off with the Soviets or the Allied side. The 234-85E, E as an Echo, is definitely a great deal. This is going to cost you 2,650 Enlisted Gold, currently on sale, and this is going to cost you roughly around $25. This tank, the T-34-85, is a very good versatile tank in the Battle of Berlin campaign. You can deal with Tiger 2s. If you shoot it at the turret ring, or the turret cheeks of a Tiger 2, you can penetrate very easily. You shoot it at Tiger E, just on the front of it, you'll penetrate any time. Same with Panthers. If you shoot at the shot trap on the turret, you'll penetrate. Talking about the Panther 4J is a joke. You can just deal with that any day. The armor on the T-34-85 is surprisingly bouncy and can take shots from the Panther as well as the Panther 4. Tiger 2, depends if they know what they're doing. They can kind of one-shot you. But overall, the T-34-85 can deal with enemy infantry with 85mm cannon with high explosive rounds and deal with all the tanks that the Germans have currently in the Battle of Berlin campaign. It's a very good deal. I would highly recommend considering picking up the T-34-85 to help expedite your grind. Now another thing to note too, and this may be surprising to some people, is the Mosocw M44L Guard Premium Squad. This is actually a very cheap squad. It's going to go roughly around 738 Enlisted Gold, or $10. This is pretty much 9 troopers, a 9-trooper squad, so overall a really big squad with the M44 Lima Mosocw rifle. This is a really good bolt action rifle considering the buffs that have been added to Enlisted for bolt action rifles. It can deal very well in long range combat, medium range combat, close quarters, and you shouldn't really be using this in close quarters, but overall the performance with 9 troopers, you can swarm an objective, you can kind of deal with enemy infantry that are camping, etc. Definitely I would say this is a good deal, especially for $10. Now for Berlin, for the Battle of Berlin campaign for the Axis, the Panther A. Highly recommend picking up this tank. It's going to cost you roughly on sale $1,875 enlisted gold or 20 bucks. The 75mm gun on it is really good. Highly recommend picking up this tank because if you're starting off as a new player, for the Battle of Berlin campaign, you start off with the Panzer-IV, which is just not competitive at all. The Panther A has decent armor, great gun, you can kind of deal with penetrating all the tanks that the Soviets have, be it the IS-2, IS-1, Su-85, etc. That 75mm cannon is really good at dealing with enemy threats as well as enemy infantry. And another surprising thing too, might be surprising to some people, the Gerat 03. This is going to cost you roughly on sale 2,250 enlisted gold or 25 bucks. This is a 15-round semi-auto magazine with 9 troopers. So pretty much the Gerat 03, in my opinion, is a better Guru 43 rifle, especially considering the buffs have been added to semi-auto rifles, and with bolt action rifles, this squad is actually performing better than it did when it initially released. So for 25 bucks, honestly, it's not a bad squad. Would consider picking this squad up. Now, of course, my favorite campaign, the invasion of Normandy, we're going to talk about the Allies, starting off with the Jumbo. This tank, the Sherman Jumbo, is going to cost you around 3,050 enlisted gold, or roughly 30 bucks. The Jumbo, when it first released, was very controversial. The reason was because a lot of players didn't really know how to deal with the Jumbo. They thought it was overpowered, it was invincible, etc. And that the Jumbo could just sit in the spawn and lob high explosive shells and just cause chaos amongst German teams. Currently though, with other tanks that have been added to Enlisted, such as the Tiger, the Panther, etc., they can kind of deal with the Jumbo, especially if they kind of know what they're doing. They shoot at the machine gun port, or they shoot at the turret ring, etc. They can penetrate a Jumbo and take it out of the game. So overall, the Jumbo, of course, has kind of decreased from its invulnerability status, but overall it's still a decent tank. If you're playing against a lot of players that don't know what they're doing, especially if they're driving a Tiger or Panther, and they can't really deal with you, if you angle your armor and anything like that, you'll be able to harass the enemy infantry. Now, the gun on the Jumbo isn't really that good. The 75mm cannon, you do have armor piercing, you have high explosive, and you have APCR, which is pretty much designated to go through tanks that have better armor than you. The APCR round, however, doesn't really perform that well. It performs similar to the AP round, so if you're shooting at Panthers, you're shooting at Tigers frontally, you're going to struggle. So the only way to really get around that is if you have an opportunity to get a side shot with an armor piercing round, but currently the way the maps are set up in Enlisted, that's going to be kind of your big choke point, really, if you're driving out the Jumbo, if you're facing against a Tiger or a Panther. But if you're facing against a Panzer-IV, if you're facing against a Panther-III, if you're facing against a Puma, you should be able to deal with those tanks with armor piercing round, no problem. Now, of course, the next thing we're going to talk about, and it's going to be kind of carried over to the Axis side, is the Vanguard bundle, and we're going to talk about the Sherman Firefly. Sherman Firefly, in my opinion, is a must if you're going to be playing in the Invasion of Normandy campaign for the Allies. You do get the Sherman Firefly, which comes with a quick-firing 17-pounder gun, or a 76.2mm cannon. This gun can deal with Panthers, it can deal with Tigers, it can deal with any enemy threat that's currently out there for vehicles in the Invasion of Normandy campaign for Germany. The gun on it is good at dealing with enemy infantry as well. The Firefly, the armor on it is kind of a hit or miss. It will get one shot if you're shot at by a skilled Panther or Tiger player, but overall, you do have the gun that can kind of trade with them and deal with enemy threats. It's going to help you deal with a lot of bigger threats that the Germans have, such as the Tiger or the Panther. Now for the Invasion of Normandy campaign for the Axis, the Panzer-IV, not a bad deal if you're going to get the Vanguard bundle. You're going to probably play the Allies eventually, so if you do get the Panzer-IV, you do get the Firefly with it for 45 bucks. Not a bad deal. The Panzer-IV, I know some people may not like the tank, and the reason why is because the turret on it is hand cranked. It's not hydraulic like a Panzer-IV-H. If you notice, the Panzer-IV-H performs better because it has a hydraulic turret, so the turret traverses a lot quicker, whereas you're playing the Panzer-IV-J, you'll notice that it's kind of slow with the turret traverse because it's hand cranked. That's really the big con with it, but the 75mm gun in that tank can deal with any threat that the Allies have, whether it be a Firefly, a Jumbo, a 76 Sherman, a regular M4 Sherman, a Stewart, an M8 Scott, etc. That tank can deal with any enemy threat. It's just a turret that kind of holds it back. But if you're going to pick up the Vanguard bundle, honestly, I would get this because, hey, it's going to help you down the road anyway if you switch to the Allies. Now, another thing too is the Panzer-III-M. Not a bad deal, 2,125 enlisted gold or 25 bucks. It has a long 50mm cannon, and the armor in it is kind of trolling. It will bounce shots from a 75mm cannon, 37mm cannons on the Stewart. It will even bounce shots from a Firefly or the 76 Sherman. It's actually very trolly, and for whatever reason, it's just the way the modeling is done in Enlisted when it comes to recognizing shell mechanics, etc. But overall, the 50mm cannon can deal with frontally the M8 Scott, the M5 Stuart. Now, when we're talking about M4 Shermans, Fireflies, etc., if you get a side shot on it, it's going to do a lot better. But that's really going to be the biggest strain. Frontally on the jumbo and everything like that's going to be a hit or miss. So keep that in mind if you're playing that. But overall, it's great as a multi-role vehicle dealing with harassing enemy infantry, as well as dealing with some of the Allied tanks frontally. Now, my favorite campaign, the Battle of Tunisia, Battle of Tunisia campaign, starting off with the Allies. The Berthier M16. This squad is going to cost you roughly 1,250 enlisted gold, or 15 bucks. This is a 9-trooper squad with a 5-round magazine rifle. The Berthier M16 was going by carbine. It has a fast fire rate, fast reload rate on it as well. I would highly recommend this squad because you have 9 troopers, you can kind of go and swarm enemy objectives. The Berthier M16 is not a bad weapon at all, and kind of deal with close quarter combat, and it's a versatile squad, especially 9 troopers, so if you got one token out, you can always replace it with another. Another squad that I think is overpowered is the SMLE. They're 2,100 enlisted gold, it's going to cost you roughly 25 bucks. This is pretty much taking the bolt action rifle, the SMLE, and turning it into a semi-auto rifle. This comes with 4 times radio operators and 1 level 2 engineer. This squad has the capabilities of providing artillery support as well as providing smoke for your teammates as well. The reload on the artillery is 30 seconds. It's a maxed out radio operator squad that's turned into a premium squad. And of course, you have that level 2 engineer, which can build spawn points. It can build anti-aircraft guns, anti-tank guns, etc., adding the variety and versatility to this squad. Now for the Axis, this is a must. If you're playing Axis Tunisia, and you're just starting off, you need to get this tank right away. The Panther.III. The Panther.III is going to cost you roughly 2,450 enlisted gold on sale, or 25 bucks. This is pretty much a Panther.III with a short 75mm cannon that fires very quickly. It has armor piercing and high explosive. The Panther.III does kind of carry over the trolley characteristics that the Panther.III has in the Invasion Normandy campaign, where the armor will bounce shots from a 75mm Sherman, from the 75mm gun on the M3 Garand, M3 Lee. Surprisingly, actually pretty good. It also has the capabilities of frontally penetrating an M3 Lee through shooting at the 75mm cannon on it, but also can deal with one-shotting M4 Shermans if you do get a side shot on the M4 Sherman, and it will obliterate any other lightly armored vehicles that the Allies have in the Battle of Tunisia, campaign. One thing to note too is the Beretta M31 radio squad. This is going to cost you gold or 25 bucks. The squad performs just like the Turner-Schmill squad with a semi-auto rifle squad equipped with 4 times radio operators and 1 level 2 engineer. That level 2 engineer, of course, has the capabilities of building spawn points, anti-tank guns, anti-aircraft guns, machine guns, etc. So it's actually a very, very good squad, and that versatility, lethality to that squad as well. It can provide smoke and direct fire capabilities and performance on par with a maxed out radio operator squad. Now lastly, the Battle of Stalingrad. Let's be honest, no one's probably watching the video at this point, but if you are, hashtag bungle smelly socks. With the Allies, this is a must, the PPSh 41 Parkerized. This is going to cost you roughly 3,045 enlisted gold, or 30 bucks. You basically get 4 assaulters, 1 level 2 engineer. This is pretty much a squad that's equipped with a PPSh 41. It's a given that weapon is very, very strong in all campaigns in Enlisted, but now you have a premium squad of it. In addition to having the full access bundle and having premium, this squad is going to help you just expedite your grind, insanely expedite your grind in the Battle of Stalingrad campaign. Now for the Axis, the Suomi finished submachine gun. This is going to be roughly 3,045 enlisted gold, or 30 bucks. You get 4 assaulters, 1 level 2 engineer. This squad is pretty much going to help you expedite your grind. If you have the full access bundle, you have premium, and you have this squad, well, pretty much you're going to be blitzing through the Stalingrad campaign. So for 30 bucks, keep in mind it's kind of like a high entry point, I would say, into the Stalingrad campaign, especially if you're paying for the full access bundle on top of it. And let's be honest, the Stalingrad campaign is kind of in a black hole anyway. It's kind of viewed as a redheaded stepchild of Enlisted currently, just because of the whole backlash with the pay for full access and everything like that to get content in Stalingrad. So I'll kind of just be wary if you decide to venture into the Stalingrad campaign, because there's a lot of just controversy with it. Other than that, if you reach this point in the video, hopefully this can help you out with what you're interested in buying. Keep in mind, if I did not cover a squad or a vehicle that you are interested in purchasing, look at the description down below, click the Enlisted Premium Squad Review playlist, and find that vehicle or that squad in there, you will kind of see my takes, my opinion on it. Other than that, if you're just playing a video, new viewer, pops, new subscriber, I hope today is the day that I earn your subscription. Having some and mash that like button does help me with YouTube algorithm. Return sub, return viewer, and let me know your thoughts. Other than that, let me know what you're thinking about picking up on this Enlisted 2-year anniversary sale. In my opinion, I think they should have brought back kind of like the CBT squads, because those are kind of rare, and that would be nice for some of the players to get the opportunity to purchase it, but I digress. Other than that, I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.